Kit Crewbucket, or more properly the Kidsgrove Boggart, Kit Crew being North Staffordshire dialect for Kidsgrove, and Bucket, a misrendering of Boggart, is commonly reported as originating from stories of the discovery of the headless body of a woman in the Harecastle Tunnel. This in turn is thought to owe a lot to garbled or recycled stories of the Christina Collins murder at Brindley Bank near Rudgley, told further on in this book. Many boaters will recall taking a boat through the Harecastle Tunnel and noticing a particularly cold, clammy spot, only to discover that the whole of Harecastle Hill is riddled with tunnels, many of them interconnect, which can produce sudden chilling draughts and eerie echoes, as well as feeding that primeval fear from our cave-dwelling days of being lost underground in the dark, prey to who knows what. Before the railways, long-distance travel by stagecoach was expensive, so folk without the means to hire a horse either walked or tried to get a cheap ride with a goods haulier, a carter or a bargeman. The story, and this is mostly Christina Collins' story, generally goes that the girl in question was on her way to join her husband in London. He'd gone there to seek work, and he was doing well, so sent for her and provided some money for her journey. She took a ride with 3 boatmen, and as one led the horse up the Harecastle Hill, the other 2 robbed and raped and murdered her. They then got rid of the body in the underground culvert to Golden Hill Colliery, known as Gilbert's Hole. How she lost her head is not plausibly told in any version of the story, nor is it explained how a headless ghost is supposed to be able to scream. But before we dismiss the whole thing as a piece of invented foolishness, we should remember that there is a far older legend prevalent in South Lancashire, Cheshire and North Staffordshire of screaming female headless apparitions. Usually the figure of an old woman dressed in a bonnet and shawl and carrying a basket covered with a napkin, whom the traveller overtakes at night. When he tries to stop her to speak to her, usually to ask for directions or to offer to carry her basket, he notices to his horror that she has no face, indeed no head at all, for the space under her bonnet is empty. The headless apparition then lifts the napkin from the basket, unveiling her severed head, which utters a horrible scream. Sometimes, if the poor traveller is really unlucky, the disembodied head will rise up out of the air and pursue the victim, flying through the air, snapping and screaming and cackling until he is driven mad or dies of fright. There have always been really nasty people around. My view is that boggarts are people too. Just as some among the flesh and blood fraternity will kill you for your wallet or your purse, so some electromagnetically based beings will take extreme measures to ensure a discharge of raw terror is induced from the victim that is sufficient to recharge them and keep them from fading into non-existence. Boggart or ghost, vengeful human or malevolent demon, or mischievous nature spirit. Many pre-Christian societies don't make an absolute distinction, saying that a spirit is a spirit, and they argue that one kind can become, in time, another. Sometimes, as we all know, but don't like to admit, some humans do things so vile that to all intents and purposes they have forfeited by any definition beyond the physical their claim to humanity. So what becomes of them when they die and are no longer physical?